Washington Commanders versus Kansas City Chiefs. The lights of Arrowhead Stadium will blaze bright on Monday night as the Kansas City Chiefs welcome the Washington Commanders for a Week 8 clash that pits a desperate underdog against one of the AFC's most resilient contenders. The Commanders, sitting at 3-4 and struggling to keep pace in the NFC East, enter with mounting injuries and dwindling momentum, while the Chiefs, 4-3 and chasing Denver in the AFC West, seek to maintain their resurgence after back-to-back statement wins. For Kansas City, it's a chance to reassert dominance behind Patrick Mahomes, whose MVP-level form has reignited the offense. For Washington, it's survival mode, a team reeling from narrow losses, a wounded rookie quarterback, and a defense gasping for identity under the bright glare of prime-time pressure. The stakes are clear. Kansas City's postseason trajectory hinges on consistency, and a home victory would keep them firmly in striking distance of the division-leading Broncos. Washington, meanwhile, fights to stay relevant in an NFC East ruled by Philadelphia and Dallas. The Commanders' trip to Kansas City was once circled as a showcase of youth and grit, but with Jaden Daniels sidelined by a hamstring injury, they'll need near perfection from their backups and defense to avoid another primetime collapse. The contrast between these franchises could hardly be starker. The Chiefs remain the standard, a dynasty recalibrating but still capable of brilliance. The Commanders are a rebuilding project in flux, looking for identity and leadership under pressure. Arrowhead, loud and unrelenting, has a way of exposing pretenders. Washington arrives as a 25% underdog according to analytics models, while Kansas City carries a confident 74.5% win probability. And the performance trends suggest that gap may even widen. Mahomes enters Week 8 in elite rhythm, completing 66% of his throws for 1,800 yards, 14 touchdowns, and just 2 interceptions. His 77.8 QBR ranks third in the league, emblematic of a quarterback who's rediscovered his balance between precision and creativity. Across the field, Washington's Jaden Daniels will watch from the sidelines after tweaking his hamstring in practice. The LSU product showed flashes of promise: 1,031 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. But his absence leaves a void too large to ignore. With Daniels out until at least Week 9, Washington's offense must rely on makeshift rhythm and a rushing attack led by rookie J. Krosky Merritt. The matchup now tilts heavily toward Kansas City's secondary, one of the most disciplined units in the conference. The quarterback duel that fans anticipated, Mahomes versus Daniels, won't materialize this week, but the storylines remain rich. Mahomes, at age 29, continues to master the nuances of pre-snap reads and protection manipulation. His connection with tight end Travis Kelce remains the cornerstone of the offense. Through 7 games, Mahomes has averaged 257 yards and 2 touchdowns per outing, even while the Chiefs transition through personnel changes and injuries along the offensive line. His QBR splits at home, 115.3, tell the story of comfort and command, and he's historically dominant under the Monday night lights, holding a 12-2 record in primetime games at Arrowhead. Washington's situation is less stable. Daniels' 61% completion rate and 50.4 QBR reflected a rookie finding rhythm under duress, and his mobility, 171 rushing yards and 2 red zone scores, had become a crucial safety valve. Without him, Washington must likely turn to veteran backup Jacoby Brissett, a steady but limited arm who thrives on short game efficiency and timing routes. Expect offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury to lean on Krosky Merritt and wide-out Deebo Samuel to carry the load with screens, draws, and quick reads designed to neutralize Kansas City's edge rush. For Kansas City, the offensive weapons are rediscovering rhythm at the right time. Tight end Travis Kelce leads the team with 375 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns on 31 catches. Despite missing a game earlier in the season, he's been vintage Kelce over the last 3 weeks. averaging nearly 80 yards per outing. Running back Isaiah Pacheco adds balance with 271 rushing yards on 66 carries, running with a punishing downhill style that has worn down defenses late in games. Expect Andy Reid to mix in play action and motion-heavy looks to exploit Washington's linebackers, particularly in coverage where they've allowed 7.9 yards per pass attempt. Washington's offensive strength lies in its balance, though it's been inconsistent. Kroski merits 377 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns highlight a runner with burst and patience, capable of finding seams behind an improving line. Wide receiver Deebo Samuel, the former 49ers-turned-Commanders focal point, has 315 yards and 3 touchdowns on 34 catches, giving the offense a versatile playmaker who thrives on quick strike opportunities. Still, Samuel's production dips significantly against top-tier secondaries, and facing L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie will test his ability to separate. Kansas City has rebounded from a mid-season stumble with authority. After a surprising home loss to Jacksonville in Week 4, the Chiefs have ripped off 2 decisive wins, 30-17 over Detroit and 31-0 over the Raiders. Their defense, once considered a liability, has been the revelation, holding opponents to just 124 total points through 7 games, 4th best in the AFC. The pass rush, led by George Karlaftis with 3.5 sacks, has pressured quarterbacks on 32% of dropbacks, while Nick Bolton anchors the middle with 55 tackles. The Chiefs' last 5 games have yielded a plus 31-point differential, a testament to their rising cohesion. Washington, conversely, is trending the wrong way. After starting 2-1 with a spirited win over the Raiders, they've dropped 3 of their last 4. Their defense has allowed 44 points to Dallas and 27 to both Atlanta and the Chargers, a troubling trend for a unit once expected to anchor their identity. The Commanders' 3-4 record includes 2 heartbreakers, a 1-point loss to Chicago and a narrow defeat to Los Angeles, but moral victories won't suffice in a tightening NFC playoff picture. Their defense, allowing 24.3 points per game, now faces its stiffest test yet against the NFL's most creative offensive mind. The standings magnify the urgency. In the NFC East, Philadelphia sits atop at 6-2, while Dallas lurks at 3-4 alongside Washington. The Commanders' margin for error is vanishing fast, especially with road games against Seattle and Philadelphia looming. Kansas City, meanwhile, stands at 4-3, just a game behind Denver, 6-2, and half a game behind the Chargers, 5-3. A win keeps them entrenched in the AFC West chase and bolsters their wild card insurance, while a loss could tighten the division into a 3-way sprint. Every possession will matter, from third-down conversions to red zone efficiency, and even special teams execution could swing momentum. In a league where parity is the norm, each win carries outsized significance, shaping playoff positioning and seeding scenarios. For the Chiefs, maintaining offensive rhythm and limiting turnovers is crucial, while Washington must maximize every scoring opportunity to remain viable in a rapidly shifting NFC East landscape. The pressure is palpable, and the games ahead promise to test poise, preparation, and adaptability at every turn. Injuries loom as a defining subplot. Washington's list is punishing. Quarterback Jaden Daniels and tight end Colson Yankoff both out with hamstring injuries until early November, while defensive end Dorrance Armstrong remains on injured reserve with a knee issue. Defensive tackle Darren Payne, toe, and kicker Matt Gay, back, are questionable, further compromising stability. Armstrong's absence removes Washington's top pass rusher. His 5.5 sacks were team-leading, leaving an edge vacuum that could allow Mahomes extra time to dissect the secondary. Beyond raw numbers, these absences ripple across rotations and game planning, forcing backups into high-leverage roles and testing Washington's depth. Offensive timing may suffer without Daniels and Yankoff, limiting red zone options and creating predictable sequences. Defensively, Mahomes and the Chiefs' schemers can exploit mismatches, isolate inexperienced defenders, and dictate tempo. Even special teams are impacted, as Gay's reliability on field goals and kickoffs is uncertain. In a game where every advantage counts, Washington's health struggles could tip the scales, amplifying the importance of discipline, situational awareness, and execution under pressure. Kansas City's own injury list is shorter but still notable. Right tackle Josh Simmons is out for personal reasons, guard Trey Smith is doubtful with a back injury, and rotational linemen Omar Norman-Lott and Brandon George are on injured reserve. Safety Nazeed Johnson remains sidelined, thinning depth in the secondary. Still, the Chiefs' depth and system continuity mitigate those losses far better than Washington's. The offensive line rotation, already tested earlier this season, allows Kansas City to maintain pass protection and run gap integrity even without key starters. Meanwhile, the secondary's scheme flexibility ensures coverage assignments can adjust without creating glaring mismatches. In contrast, Washington's injuries have already exposed vulnerabilities in multiple phases, making Kansas City's relative health and organizational cohesion a significant competitive advantage heading into kickoff. The first X factor lies in pocket control. Kansas City's offensive line, even with absences, ranks among the top 5 in pass block win rate, while Washington's pass rush without Armstrong has plummeted to 27th in pressure percentage. If Mahomes is given time, his playmaking outside the pocket will shred zone coverages. Conversely, if Washington can somehow manufacture interior pressure through Payne and Jonathan Allen, they could disrupt rhythm and force Mahomes to play hero ball. Historically, the only formula that sometimes backfires. Beyond raw pass protection, subtle factors like pre-snap movements, stunts, and delayed blitzes could alter timing, forcing Mahomes into tighter windows or hurried throws. The Chiefs' ability to slide the pocket and trust receivers to find soft spots will test Washington's discipline and communication. On the flip side, if Washington can generate even modest pressure early, it might rattle Mahomes briefly, creating opportunities for turnovers or stalled drives. Ultimately, the pocket's integrity is the fulcrum upon which the game pivots. Control it, and Kansas City's dynamic offense thrives. Fail to disrupt it, and Washington risks being outmaneuvered on nearly every play. Second, the turnover battle looms especially large. It's often the dividing line between a moral victory and a blowout. The Chiefs enter at +5 in turnover margin, fueled by Mahomes' precision and a secondary that thrives on baiting quarterbacks into poor decisions. Their defense has forced multiple takeaways in 4 straight contests, converting nearly half of them into points. Washington, on the other hand, sits at -3, a reflection of both sloppy ball security and red zone inefficiency. Interceptions have stalled promising drives, while untimely fumbles have erased any chance to seize momentum. Against a Kansas City team that turns miscues into instant offense, even one turnover could shift the game's complexion entirely. For Washington to stay competitive, protecting the ball isn't just a priority, it's survival. Third, special teams could quietly shape the game's tone and momentum. With kicker Matt Gay listed as questionable, Washington's reliability in crucial scoring situations takes a major hit. Missed field goals or short punts could hand Kansas City valuable field position, a dangerous proposition against one of the league's most efficient offenses. Conversely, the Chiefs enjoy near perfection from Harrison Butker, who's converted over 90% of his attempts and remains a stabilizing force in high-pressure moments. Kansas City's return units, led by Mecole Hardman's speed and vision, further amplify their edge in the hidden yardage battle. These subtle details, field position, coverage discipline, and conversion consistency, often swing close games. Though calling this one close might be generous. Given the current form disparity, special teams could instead serve as the final separator, reinforcing the Chiefs' complete game dominance while exposing Washington's thin margin for error. Andy Reid versus Dan Quinn presents another layer of intrigue. Reid, a master of scripted drives and halftime adjustments, has outscored opponents 78-27 in the third quarter this season. Quinn's defense, once built on aggression and disguise, has grown increasingly predictable, and the absence of Armstrong further neuters his blitz packages. Expect Reid to exploit Washington's shallow zones with motion and mesh concepts, isolating Kelsey on linebackers. Quinn, on the other hand, will likely play conservative early, testing whether Kansas City's young receivers can win consistently. The chess match between these two seasoned minds will be pivotal. Reid thrives on identifying defensive tendencies and layering plays that build off early formations, while Quinn's challenge lies in finding balance between pressure and coverage integrity. If Reid establishes rhythm early, Kansas City could control tempo and time of possession, forcing Quinn into reactive play calling. Conversely, if Washington's defense can generate early stops and disguise coverages effectively, it may slow the Chiefs' momentum just enough to keep the game within reach. Ultimately, this duel may hinge less on sheer talent and more on adaptability. The coach who adjusts quicker will likely dictate the flow. Mahomes' efficiency on third down, converting 51% of attempts, contrasts sharply with Washington's defensive struggles, allowing conversions at a 45% clip. Kansas City also dominates time of possession, averaging 32 minutes and 10 seconds per game, which wears down opposing defenses. Washington averages just 27-45, often forced into catch-up mode. Sustaining drives will be critical for the Commanders to keep Mahomes off the field. Otherwise, fatigue could set in by the second half. Kansas City's rhythm in converting third and medium situations, often through quick reads and motion mismatches, makes them especially difficult to contain once momentum builds. Washington must tighten underneath coverage and generate interior pressure without blitzing. Otherwise, Mahomes' patience and pocket movement will dissect their zone looks and extend drives deep into the fourth quarter. The Commanders' red zone defense, allowing touchdowns on 63% of opponent trips, will be under siege from a Chiefs offense converting 70% of its red zone opportunities. Washington's secondary has yielded a league-high 18 completions of 25-plus yards, a dangerous trend against a quarterback who thrives on improvisational deep shots. To counter, Washington must tighten coverage discipline and generate pressure without overcommitting blitz packages, forcing Kansas City into underneath throws. If the Commanders can disrupt timing and limit yards after the catch, they may at least slow the offensive avalanche that Mahomes and Kelsey routinely generate. Analytically and contextually, this game lines up as Kansas City's to lose. The Chiefs possess every tangible advantage: quarterback health, home field confidence, defensive momentum, and coaching edge. Mahomes' connection with Kelsey should thrive against Washington's soft zones, while Pacheco's balance on the ground will keep the defense honest. Expect Kansas City to establish tempo early, mixing quick slants and RPO looks before opening vertical shots in the second half. Their offensive rhythm under Andy Reid remains unmatched when they find early efficiency, and with Washington's secondary prone to lapses in communication, Mahomes could exploit mismatches repeatedly. The Chiefs' defense, led by Chris Jones's interior dominance and Trent McDuffie's coverage versatility, is equally capable of dictating flow, forcing Washington into predictable passing downs. By controlling both pace and possession, Kansas City can methodically squeeze momentum out of its opponent. If they maintain discipline on third downs and minimize penalties, this matchup could evolve into a statement performance, the kind of controlled, clinical win that reinforces why the Chiefs remain the league's standard bearer. Washington's best hope lies in controlling the clock. If Krosky Merritt can sustain drives and the defense can limit explosive plays, they might force a lower-scoring contest. But with their quarterback sidelined and defense undermanned, that's a tall order in one of football's most hostile environments. Expect Brissett to manage a few scoring drives, Samuel to break one big play, but ultimately, Kansas City's composure and firepower will prevail. The Chiefs are simply too well drilled, too efficient in crucial moments and too comfortable under the prime-time spotlight to let an upset brew. Look for Kansas City's defense to tighten in the red zone, forcing field goals instead of touchdowns, while Mahomes methodically dismantles coverage schemes with precision passing and off-script brilliance. By the fourth quarter, the home crowd will likely be in full celebration mode, as the Chiefs remind the league once again that even when opponents execute their best-laid plans, it often isn't enough to topple the reigning juggernaut at Arrowhead. Arrowhead's crowd, roaring under the lights, will likely witness another Mahomes masterpiece. With the Chiefs trending upward and Washington limping in, the result feels inevitable. Mahomes should surpass 280 yards and 3 touchdowns, while Kelsey flirts with 100 yards in a statement performance. The Commanders, valiant but overmatched, will leave Kansas City searching for answers as their season teeters on the brink. The energy in the stadium will be electric from the opening kickoff, the kind of atmosphere that amplifies every Mahomes scramble and every Kelsey reception. Expect Kansas City to strike early, setting a tone that forces Washington to chase the game from behind. Even if the Commanders manage a few highlight plays, the Chiefs' poise and creativity under pressure should turn any momentum swing back in their favor. This is the kind of night where the reigning powerhouse reminds everyone why they're perennial contenders, disciplined, dynamic, and impossible to dethrone at home. Mahomes fortifies his MVP candidacy, Reed cements another primetime triumph, and Kansas City rolls toward mid-season form. Washington, meanwhile, faces a harsh reality. Promise meets pain, and the road ahead doesn't get easier. Monday night will be less about rivalry and more about reaffirmation. The Chiefs' dynasty still burns bright, and the Commanders for now remain shadows chasing their own potential. The gap in execution, culture, and experience continues to show when the spotlight shines brightest. Kansas City's precision, clock management, and adaptability under pressure remain unmatched, while Washington's flashes of brilliance still struggle to translate into sustained success. As Mahomes orchestrates another statement win, it becomes clear that the Chiefs aren't just surviving another season, they're sharpening for another deep playoff run, while the Commanders return to the drawing board. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Kansas City Chiefs winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box.